and welcome to Season 5, Episode 18 of the Sajin Photography Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Teal, and today we've got a quick episode talking about the upcoming 2024 Scott Kelby Worldwide Photo Walk, which I will be hosting at the Taewa National Garden here in Ulsan, South Korea. Now, if you've followed me for any amount of time, you know that pretty much every year, minus those quirky COVID years, I have always hosted one of the Scott Kelby photo walks this time of year, and I must say I truly enjoy it. And as I've said in previous podcasts on this topic, I'm a huge fan of Scott Kelby just for his down-to-earth style and none of the whole wham-bam edutainment sort of things. And the reason I kind of gravitate towards this is because I know for a fact that Scott Kelby is by and far one of the most educated people in not only the photography realm, but of also all things Adobe and photo editing. I started following him way back in probably, I would say, 2006-ish, 2007, when he had his podcast, the original podcast that popped up onto your iPod. And he was the host of the Photoshop Guys podcast. And I really enjoyed that podcast. They taught me basically how to do all the edits back then with the old technology. And year after year, I sort of really built up an appreciation for his style of teaching, which I think also influenced my style of teaching. But at any rate, this year's photo walk will be at the Taewa River National Garden. And I chose that place this year, as I've done in other years. I usually head out there at some point simply because there's enough space for the people to sort of fan out, and find something of their own style, not just sort of follow the herd, so to speak. And I did that last year with the Ulsan Grand Park one. I'm not sure if you remember that. But again, like in Ulsan Grand Park, we sort of followed a little path and everyone's sort of stuck together. And this year I'm sort of expecting people to sort of fan out and try and find their different areas that they can capture some unique shots and not just have to follow everybody else around. The reason for that is I think that when you're trying to be creative, there's a tendency to sort of get into that herd mentality where, you know, if somebody sees something interesting or if you see somebody taking a picture of something that you think is cool, then you all sort of cluster around. And that's great for sort of practicing, but for this kind of thing, you know, you want to sort of draw upon your original ideas or creativity. So I really want this year people to sort of spread out throughout the park. Now, the Taewa River National Garden is a great place for that sort of thinking because you have spots along the river. You can shoot the Taewaru if you really want to march off that way. You can go on the other side of the road and get some street photography. You can get the bamboo forest, the walking bridge, the eco tourism center, the bridge under the overpass. There's a ton of content that you can shoot, and you don't really have to sort of march through, you know, 2 steps behind me kind of thing. So I think that this year is going to be a great year. And also, if you don't really know the area, the Taewa River National Garden, to me, is one of the best spots in Ulsan. When I first came here, it was just a empty space, really. It was just a blank spot on the map. And over the years, it really developed into a wonderful spot, not just for photography, just for the people of Ulsan, really. And I was just out there sort of checking out the routes, and I noticed that there's a lot more like independent cafes. I stopped in at a wonderful Korean bookstore and cafe, and the lady spoke amazing English, and she really, like, we ended up talking for about an hour, and she knew friends of mine and whatnot. But it's all of these like little places that sort of make up the larger surrounding area of the park that make it such a wonderful spot. And I think, what was it, about a couple of weeks ago, I took my photography class around there. We kind of did a, not really a photo walk. Well, I guess you could call it a photo walk, but what we did was we did a photo tour. That would be a better word for it, where we took the hop on, hop off Ulsan City Tour bus, which is a great little thing. It's a trolley bus kind of thing, but inside it's all wood panels and tables and whatnot. And we basically just paid the $6, jumped on the bus, and then rode around the park and basically hopped on, got some shots, waited for the next bus, jumped back on, went to the next location, hopped off, and so on and so forth. And it was a really kind of a great experience. And that's why I sort of really wanted to sort of bring the larger, more public photo walk back there. And especially during the fall time of year, because for some reason there's a lot more flowers and such out there. I'm not sure. I'm not a horticulturalist or anything like that, so I don't know why, but the fall flowers out there are quite beautiful. So that is basically the plan, is to go out there, and basically we're going to go late afternoon and shoot into the maybe the early evening, who's to say. But after that, we're going to find a great place for coffee, which is not too hard, as I said, and then sort of chat about the photography. And that's one of the things I think that, going back to the start of this Scott Kelby photo walk thing, that's what I really liked about his style of photo walks. It wasn't about like flexing and, like crazy tattoos and piercings and whatnot. It was more about the socialization afterwards as well, the camaraderie that you have when you're out there doing something creative. And you've heard me bitch and moan about the community, but I really think that this is one of the aspects that Scott Kelby does really well, is he makes a community. And it's not all about flash and bang and this and that. It's just about people really enjoying what they do. And I think that, to me, that's the most important thing. So with that being said, I'm going to post a link in the description notes. I will for sure this time. And I want you, if you're in the Ulsan area or in Korea, sign up for this. If it's too far away, I would say just, here's my thing. These things are free to start. And the more people that sort of start these things in and around Korea or around the world, wherever you are, the better, because I think that more people need to sort of realize that these photo walks and these events simply to celebrate photography and getting out and doing stuff is a good thing. And like a side note is that when you go out and photograph around your city, it could be Brandon, Manitoba, which is the most like uninteresting place in the world, but really it helps people appreciate what is there. Like, going with Brandon, like, I mean, October is a beautiful time of year. It's kind of cool, but if you go along the, I don't know, the Riverbank Discovery Center out there, you can probably find some great shots. Or if you go downtown Brandon, just make sure you wear your bulletproof vest or something. But I'm sure there's some great shots. So the purpose of these photo walks is photography, but it's also about appreciating the city or the community for which you live in. And I think that I want to encourage you guys all to sort of, if there's not one near you, start up one where you are. And I think it's important to kind of keep that ball rolling. You don't need the worldwide photography thing. You can just do one any weekend. And I think that these photo walks are just a great way to sort of meet like-minded people, get out and get some shots. And trust me, you're not really going to get, some National Geographic worthy shots. Some people will get them. But the point is just being out and about with other photographers, people who understand the creative passion that you have. And I think that's sort of a great thing to do, every once in a while. And kind of as a side note as well to that one, if you're looking for more of that and you're up in Seoul, do check out like the Flickr and Seoul group, either on Flickr, go figure, or Facebook. They're quite active. And I think every Sunday they sort of go out and have a photo walk. So, check them out, because they're the ones who are, routinely doing this sort of stuff. And I really think it's a good thing. So do check them out. So with that being said, guys, keep the October 5th clear. I will post the link below if you want to sign up for my photo walk. And as I said before, if you're not anywhere near me, do by all means start your own. Take care and see you on Saturday, October 5th.